Queensland.
Wow, I can't believe they won. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Back Yourself podcast. We are live straight after game 2 of the State of Origin
was so
match.
good.
What an overs-a-thon that was, ladies and gentlemen. 26-24 was your full-time score. With the Maroons giving us at the Back Yourself what we wanted, with an outright win, a cover of the plus 7.5, and a decider heading back to New South Wales in game 3. Thank God for that.
Thank you, Villandis.
Because a dead rubber of this awful Origin series truly would make my eyes water. Chris, we came on the pod with conviction and we said, Queensland are going to get 100 calls and win, and that's exactly what happened. How good does that feel, baby? Talk to me.
They got 100 calls. Don't worry about that. The first half, there needs to be investigation on Ashley Klein.
And Peter Villandis.
For these 2 games. Game 1 and game 2.
Well, he got what he wanted both games, didn't he?
Well, now, the only hope we can have now, like now that it's done, you know, the Back Yourself podcast knows the future. We're sidekick, right? Now that it's done, now put the whistle away.
Well, he will.
Because you've done your job, right? Because
you gave New South Wales a win. You gave Queensland a win. Now just let the boys decide.
I wouldn't have any refs in game 3. Just take them off.
Let the boys be boys.
Let boys be boys.
Yeah,
whatever happens, happens.
Anyway, now that
Queensland's won.
We've seen Queensland win. Obviously, it changes the landscape as far as Game 3 goes. I think most assume that New South Wales would have already lifted the shield tonight, but it wasn't meant to be due to the fate of Ashley Klein. Now,
is he the only person to blame, though?
Obviously, the structure of this review, we're going to talk about the individual game, what we think will happen as far as how it impacts the series, the player performances, rating everyone out of 10, our man of the match, how the game played out, key moments.
Can we pick a man?
Overs, unders.
Or we're just going to pick Klein?
We can talk about everything, mate. Well, how about we go from the start of the game?
I just want to talk man of the match. Like, is it? Can
Klein.
we just? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, cool.
But obviously, we got to go straight to that first half, and it did not take long for the Blues to crash over, did it, Chrissy?
No, shit try. Off a shit call.
Try.
Off a shit call as well. Like, I mean, I get this strip business. Once they bump them off and the player keeps their hands there but their body is behind them and they take the ball away, that is a strip. Well, it might not be a traditional strip, but it is a strip.
I want to go even a bit earlier than that play, Chris, because I got to say it was a very shaky start from both states. Maybe there was too much adrenaline, too many comments made throughout the week, glass houses, fucking grub, whatnot. Everyone was a bit antsy and on tilt. And you saw that manifest through Luai's kick out on the full in probably one of the first couple of sets that were exchanged. Tino drops it 2 minutes later. And then I think New South Wales drop it at some point and get back into the Queensland end.
They improve.
This is where you have Tino's next era, where they challenged the strip call. And apparently there wasn't a stripping motion, even though I thought there was. But they give Queensland an error instead of a penalty, but don't worry, they got all those penalties back. Much fucking didn't take very long. And from that point forward, New South Wales go left, and they put the little grubber through. Ponga seemed to be in a different postcode, and that was a theme for most of the match, to be honest. And Toto scores quite early to make it 6-0.
He's only in the postcode when he needs to drop it in the air, which seemed to continue happening. But from that 6-0 standing point, this is where Klein comes in and says, "Hold it, lads. We need to get this to a game 3." And, he did that. I mean, New South Wales are not this ill-disciplined. No team, actually. Even in the NRL. New South Roosters are not this ill-disciplined. Now, when this is going so against you, in Roosters' typical style, they'll compound what they do. All right? The ref might give you a call. All right, it's bullshit. Okay, they'll give him another call. It's bullshit. But New South Wales just did the typical Roosters thing. They didn't just compound the calls. When they got the ball, they made errors. And when you do all this against a team which, regardless of what Queensland ran out there or not, like we've said, that they should have changed the team. They should have this guy in. They should have this guy in. Regardless of who's out there, right? Queensland is still a rep-level team. Like, they're not bad players. They're all the best players in their state. Anyway, we'll get to the second half. But you can't give a team that much good ball. And New South Wales, yes, Klein gave them all the calls in the world, 6 against, I know. But, like Roosters, exactly the same principle. You can't compound that with your own errors. At least when you have the ball, there's no fucking mistake from Ashley Klein. And you got to think of it in a few ways. There was the errors. There was the Lomax elbow to the head, which I don't know if that's going to get a lot of contra, but You can't do that. Like, it was pretty obvious, and it was clear cut. Liera did this and also went off for HIA. So, essentially, with all that said, Queensland did play some good footy.
All right.
The Cape Wall try was very nice. The Munster try was very nice. So the rest of them.
Let's explore. Okay. At halftime, the penalty count was whatever it was.
8-0.
9-0. Let's say probably 7 of those, to hold New South Wales somewhat accountable, probably 7 of them deserve to be penalties, right? Ashley Klein, it's kind of lazy to
The
just be
7's
like,
a lot. I would say 5.
let's say 6. I'll meet you in the middle, right? 6. On top of the 6, like you alluded to, Chris, there was times that Queensland dropped the ball and like 2 tackles later, New South Wales would drop it as well. And it kind of just compounded, like you said, the whole half. Error, penalty. And let's look at how Queensland actually get runs on the board, because probably halfway through that first half, we get torrential fucking tsunami onto the pitch, and you're thinking, well, it's going to be really hard to score points.
But that's not
But
how
then
it
we
works
go
in
into
the
halftime
sport.
26-6. So how did Queensland get their 26 points? Number 1,
Latrell.
we criticised Munster and Grant a fuck ton in game 1, and we said they were both horrific. And we put a question mark on this didn't change because we were like, well, Cherry Evans generally has been a good Origin performer. Let's see how he goes. I thought in the first half, all 3 of those players stepped up a lot. Grant, particularly Munster, and particularly Dearden. They didn't overplay their hand. They took advantage of the momentum that the Queensland forwards were able to generate. Ponga, I think we'll get to him during the player review segment, but he was awful.
There's always one player that's awful.
And not very involved, but that was offset by how good Munster and Dearden played. So, first try is a hands to the right-hand side. This was where, like, this sequence of play is where you're like, well, Ashley Klein, what the fuck are you doing? Because it's one thing to give the penalty to, like, Lomax elbowing Liero, or
that was the 6 again, 6 again, 6 again.
Like piggyback penalties out of their end, where New South Wales were quite ill-disciplined, but once Queensland actually got down there, it was very similar to game 1, where it's just like 6 again, 6 again, 6 again until they scored. And what we saw was Latrell's side of the field, obviously a little bit out of sync defensively. Luai, Angus Crichton, Latrell, and Bizza. The Queensland go hands, and Latrell's comes in a little bit too much on Ruben Cotter for no reason. Robert Toya goes to hammer time, they score, and it's 6-6 when it looked like, oh, New South Wales have been shot out of a cannon. Then you have the Dearden crossfield bomb to hammer time, which...
Good play.
Look, he's just a freak athlete, and there's really not much To'o can do in
and
that
very
situation.
Smart, like, I know Slater's been a lot criticised this week. Very smart from Slater to switch the wingers.
Yeah.
Because if you still have the height advantage, then you're essentially nullifying their impact on one side and doing
what
the
he
other.
essentially did was, all right, I'm not going to just allow these guys to kick the Lomax and beat us on the wing, and we still have a matchup advantage if hammer goes onto business side, which we saw in the second try. Very key that Val's kicking every goal from the sideline at this point, so they're up 12-6. And then just weight of possession and error. Liam Martin goes shots on Tino and drops it. He's like, yeah, sucker fat one. Literally 2 tackles later, he drops it himself, and you just see the air sucked out of New South Wales. Here comes Tommy Dearden off a quick play the ball, linking up with Munster in the middle of the park. Munster ends up scoring to make this, 18-6?
No, Capel scored first.
Did Capel score first?
Yeah, the left edge play.
My apologies.
And then Harry Grant scored.
This was the true gun Queensland try, where there was some second phase throughout the set. Munster does the offload for Kalen, who gets to quick play the ball. Harry Grant links up with Dearden swinging on the left side. They make numbers. He goes short to Capewell, who I thought was a standout of the fixture at this point. Who gives it to Man.
He's always a standout.
Man offloads to Capewell, and Capewell crashes over. This is 18-6. A couple more errors from New South Wales, and then
Harry
New
plays
South Wales score through the Cleary walk through the fucking Kalen Ponga on the try line try. But
this is all before. Munster scored after that.
This gets taken off them because of the obstruction. They thought Pat Carrigan was...
which I thought was fair.
Which they have ruled this quite black and white.
Yeah.
Whether he gets to him or not, I'm leaning that he would have got to him, but our opinion doesn't really matter because they're very consistent on this rule, right? And at this point, instead of going to the half 20-12, they have to defend another set, and then this is where Dearden links up with Munster, who scores under the post, and you got your halftime score of 26-6. So at this point, Chris, what's going through your head at halftime?
Well, they got all the calls, and we called it. The game's done. New South Wales, I still thought in my mind would come back. Did I think it would get to that point? No, but Ashley Klein, wanted to even it up, make sure everyone that didn't watch the game or watched the game be like, you know what, Ashley Klein did right by us. And what's incredible is in the second half even, a lot of the 50-50 calls went their way as well, which is incredible.
Queensland?
No, New South Wales. Which,
Predictable, though.
Predictable,
At
but
halftime.
Kalen's error at the end with 3 minutes to go in a regular season, that ball went backwards. It came off the back of his arm. But once the momentum is with one team, and we've explained this the whole year, and it happens on the biggest arena, which is a shame for this sport because it's such a great sport to watch when it isn't involving the referees. But in this case, as soon as the momentum goes one way, it's unstoppable.
Yeah,
and
it's out of control.
It's out of control. And Queensland overall are a shit side, right? New South Wales got the momentum in the second half, and all through, he gets so much criticism. Yes, he gives a try away every now and again, but fuck me, where would we be without Latrell? Set up all 3 tries for Toto.
Yeah.
Made the strip to get the ball back to score for Angus Crichton in the second half.
That was a GOAT play. But just before we get to the second half, Chris, I really want to call New South Wales out for how awful they came out in the first half.
I want to call out one particular player.
Us sitting 1,000 miles away from the game, understanding this series, how we understand it, we knew that if New South Wales just go out and play the same, there's no reason for Queensland to even sniff these cunts. But I don't understand why they just went out and played like Roosters and just relegated their level to what Queensland were dishing out.
Well, it's not them. It's hard for me to explain.
Okay, the 1 or 2 extra calls that Klein gave on the New South Wales try
they
line.
compounded,
okay, fair enough.
Right? They compounded.
Yes, but then why are you guys just why is Cleary going short to Haas? I'm talking about the first half one, not the second half one. Why are they just not understanding the conditions and what that entails? Why did we not see them get to a point where they go set for set so they can get the advantage in the ascendancy through the back 5, which is what we said.
Why is Latrell out there kicking?
Why is Latrell out there kicking? Which I'll let you tell the audience. But at this point, I don't think New South Wales could have played any worse. And for them to be down 26-6 to a side, for them to lead 6-0 and then trail by 20 at halftime to a team they're 10 times better than, I thought just showed a really high sense of incompetence from what the fuck they actually dished out in the first half.
They were awful. That was the worst half of footy they've had throughout this series, and Queensland's best, and they weren't that great. And that's probably the only half. What's incredible is Queensland's probably played one good half, and it's 1-1.
Yeah.
Because second half, it wasn't any better from these idiots. It was back to game 1 all over again.
Which you can get us started on how the second half goes.
Well,
would you like me to recount the events that led to the end of the game, and then you can review the match in its entirety?
Yeah, but go ahead.
Queensland came out and quit.
Yeah.
Literally. It all got too hard for them. Literally, I think on the second set, they gave a lazy fucking piggyback penalty, and I was like...
They're giving up.
You can't say lucky you're up 26-6, right? Because if they realistically had only led by 12 or something, they literally would have got hammered. But New South Wales, they just did enough right, and Queensland couldn't handle them.
Yeah.
It's kind of my
You
thoughts.
only have to do things right to beat Queensland.
Yeah.
And they can't.
Queensland just couldn't handle them. I don't even think New South Wales blitzed them in their second half by any stretch of the imagination. They still made a bunch of errors, but what we've seen is that right side Queensland defense of Cotter, Dearden, Robert Toya, and fucking Hammer Time. They'd no match for that fucking New South Wales left edge, which resulted in a Brian To'o hat-trick pretty much from... It's either Latrell gets it, and if you don't help Robert Toya, he probably will just barge over and score. And it seems as if they're so fucking terrified of him, rightfully so, that he can just go hands, and it's really hard to cover for Bizza when he's coming across.
And he's a strong boy as well.
And you cunts are bringing across Ponga, who fucked me dead. We'll get
he
to
was
him.
their worst, for sure.
But they just fall short in the end. Multiple opportunities on the Queensland goal line.
Multiple kicks.
And multiple kicks that they fucked up. So in the end, we have a 26-24 scoreline where New South Wales actually outscore Queensland 5-4, which is crazy to me.
It's incredible.
Was it as crazy to you that this game got as close as it did get in the second half?
Not really. This is how it should have been. If the underdog's going to win, they're going to win by this much. So you got to think of it that way. Obviously, when you look at the first half, you're like, oh, Queensland should just go on with it. But if an underdog's going to win, they should only win just. And Queensland should realistically be in this Torta game and the way it played out, like $3.50, not $2.75, because they're awful.
Yeah.
And they should have been 10.5, but they won.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what people, how are they get 10.5, but they won? They were awful. They were an awful team. Like, people need to understand this shit, which infuriates me that New South Wales still have this problem in them. That
they will lose.
They will just lose.
Yeah.
And the problem is, okay, let's scrap the fact you had 90% of the calls, right? What I'm going to say to New South Wales, you guys had the calls in game one, and in my opinion, Queensland have delivered you the worst left-right edge I've ever seen in Origin.
The Robert Toya one?
Toya, Dearden, and Cotter.
It's bad, yeah.
Defensively, atrocious. Atrocious. And the way Latrell was just like...
Yeah, no, it's too easy.
It's too easy for him. Like, he didn't even do shit. And, like, the fact you had that, and some of the players, like, fuck me, especially one key particular player, which he was injured. I didn't know.
It was so brave of him.
It was so brave he played.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't believe we have a national football, like, everyone got their eyes on this game, and no one knew he was injured.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
They must have kept it under the wraps.
The strapping really kept it under the wraps so well.
Yeah.
Like, all right, he started kicking in the second half. The first half, where they were awful and they needed the kicking game, why didn't he kick?
His thigh hurt.
Yeah, but he was all right in the second half when they needed to come back.
No, but he healed when he
heal.
thought he ran past Ponga and scored. Look,
there's a reason why his record's 8-8
in Origin.
Well,
injury aside, he has had quite a mid-Origin career. And Kuntz called us out in game one for giving him a 6 out of 10 performance. What do you want us to give him now? 9 out of 10 for bravery?
What did he do?
Not much.
Luai was better than him. Luai is a great performer in Origin.
Yeah.
He actually plays good.
For the level of player that Luai intrinsically is versus Cleary, and what you would expect out of them, Luai's been here and Cleary's been here in Origin for their whole career, in my opinion.
And I can't imagine if Moses was there, we would have lost. I think if it was Moses Luai, we would have won.
It's possible.
Because the other thing is, the right edge was utterly useless, yet we kept attacking it. With 7 minutes to go, we're at a 1-try game.
Yeah, Connor Watson's going fucking
Connor Watson
short.
keeps going right, which, okay, Connor Watson is his own play, is his own mind, right? I'm not blaming this on Cleary. But at what point are you just going to be like, give me the fucking ball? Like, is he even saying that out there? Like, all they needed to do with that last set was go left, and they would have scored again.
Probably.
They had no answers. What are they going to do? Come in on Latrell? They would just live Toto and go and score. It literally, every time they actually shifted it with any decent shape to the left side, they scored.
Yeah, quite comfortably.
It was easy.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, either Luai puts the ball in behind and Angus Crichton goes through, or they give it to Latrell, he taps it on to Toto, and no one can tackle it because Kalen Ponga doesn't know how to tackle anymore. And what do they do the last set? 3 times they go right. Lomax drops it. Yes, they had numbers that last play, but the other 2 plays they didn't, and they kept going right. And then Cleary gives a dog shit pass to Haas with 1 minute to go when they got the ball back for the 3rd time on their line, and they lose from there. I mean, look, yes, the first half was atrocious. We're acknowledging that. You still had 7 minutes of chances to get yourselves out of the rubbish that Klein put together, and you bombed all your chances, every single one of them. It's simple. Go left. It's a simple game plan. I can't expect... Do you truly think if this was South, they wouldn't just go left? South, they're 14th on the premiership. They would just go left and score. Like, it's common sense. It's working. It's not like it hasn't worked. It proved to you it worked. He scored 3 tries. And you have to blame the halves. There's no one else to blame. And I can't blame Luai. I thought he was great. For him to come in and play that well and essentially almost set up 2 tries. One, the first kick, which somewhat was him, and the second kick to Angus Crichton to get him close. What Cleary did he even have a try assist?
And look, not just that he directly set up those tries, but I thought the way the left edge was sinking with how he was like demanding the ball, getting it to Latrell, for then Latrell to have a bit of space to give it to Bizza. Like, Bizza was pretty much uncontested
the whole time.
by the time he was like in the try scoring position, right? So that's a lot of good lead up work play from Luai and his whole edge. Obviously, Stephen Crichton, aka Bitcoin himself, shout out to Matt. He scores the try from literally
Just himself.
I want to say that New South Wales had a 2-on-4, but Queensland between Val and Ponga
Just shit.
Fucking like you should never see that in an Origin game.
No.
That looked like Titans Manly when Ruben Garrick fucking scored. In the
Yeah, it was awful.
Like, that's just shit from you cunts. And the more I think about Queensland, this is an awful fucking side.
Yeah, they're awful.
Fuck, like
It should
for
not
us to
be
take them
1-1.
and win, I don't actually feel vindicated because of how bad these
Because
cunts
I
are.
thought they would play a lot better, but they didn't play
they
well.
They were fucking despicable
But
in the
that's
second
New
half.
South Wales. That's just us. That's how we are.
I'm sorry, mate. Like
That's how we are. And that's
we
why
have it. We have it in us, and like anyone that is a true objective New South Wales Blues fan, and shout out to all the Blues, anyone in New South Wales that's feeling a bit gutted tonight. You know that we're capable of some garbage like this.
Yeah.
And any motherfucker that watched tonight's game, in their heart of hearts, knows we're 10 times better than these
Yeah,
cunts.
we know we're better,
But we also know that we have a capability of playing like garbage at the most inconvenient time.
And
right?
conveniently, it happened
what
again
was the
too.
one thing you couldn't do to Queensland in this game is give these cunts hope.
And they gave him hope.
Not only did you give them hope within the confines of the game by giving them a 26-6 lead,
You talk
because
shit
of your
the whole
own
week.
fucking errors. You talk shit the whole week and instigated their forwards to play like humans when intrinsically they're fucking garbage. And now you give them hope for as far as the series goes of you motherfuckers are 80 minutes away from blowing the unblowable series, realistically.
Yeah.
You went to Queensland in game one, literally Turkey slapped them on their home field after winning a decider in Queensland last year. And then you cunts go to Perth and it's 26-6 at halftime after you led 6-0.
Well, look, I know this is the worst Queensland has played.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The worst Queensland team beat New South Wales. But they didn't play bad. They were just shit players, right? But this could be the worst two performances, if not three, and they could still lift the shield. They have a possibility.
That's the scary thing where I want to give me and you, especially me, a pat on the back for coming on and actually tipping Queensland in game two. Because in the pre-origin, we were like
3-0.
I was like, Queensland should not win a 10-minute interval this series. That's fucking not even close to us.
Yeah.
But I actually know my state so well that I know they
They're
can go
not
and mess
fucking-
it up.
yeah.
And that's what they did.
Exactly.
Do I give them credit for coming back in the second half? Absolutely I
Yeah.
do. I really do.
That's how you
Because
should be playing.
Truly, I don't want to just sit here and be like, well, we lost the game, we're shit. Because that's fucking... If you want that kind of analysis, just go to any Facebook post and that's what any other
everyone's gonna
degenerate
kill
will
them.
say, right? But truly... This is my podcast. I don't give a fuck. This is how the Back Yourself podcast operates. I actually want to come on and flame Queensland in their win.
Yeah, they're awful.
Like, we played awful, and for as awful as we played in that first half, and to be honest, I think we could have played it much better in the second half. We actually scored more tries than these morons.
They're an awful team.
If Val misses one of those sideline conversions and Lomax hits one of them, we literally would come on the podcast and be like, Queensland might be the worst team
Yeah, but
ever.
those ifs and maybes don't happen for them. That's what, at some point...
That's convenient.
but-
Of 20 years of us watching Origin.
Yeah, I know, but like...
But what I'm saying is, I don't want all my cogent analysis to revolve around, New South Wales are awful because they lost, and Queensland are so good, when, from what I can see with my own eyes, there's nothing good about Queensland.
There isn't, but again, we have to blame certain individuals, in my opinion. You can't blame the team.
Well, we can go to the player review, and we can talk about that in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Well, I
But
don't think
from my
the whole
perspective,
team...
From my perspective, Queensland as a team in game one, every player was awful. And New South Wales as a team in game one, every player was GOAT. In game two, I can't really sit and say that there was too many good New South Wales players.
Luai.
Sure.
Latrell.
But even Luai starts the game off kicking out on the full. Latrell,
He gave the try away, but he scored 4.
is that the best I've seen Latrell play? Probably not. Like
He's locked up, bruh.
He's set a couple tries up, but is that the destructive force of Latrell that I've come to love and know? No, it wasn't. Cleary was shithouse. Let's call it what it is. Do I give him the nod of you went out there and you put your fucking heart on your shield with a thigh injury? I do, but
No.
he wasn't good.
No.
Did Lomax and To'o... Well, To'o played quite good, I suppose, but did Lomax have the impact that he had in game 1? No. Did Haas? No. Did Yo? No. Did either of the back rowers? Probably not.
The King play?
Did Max King even play? No. Did they kick to Spencer Leniu? That was a fucking non-story.
Yeah,
he went shots on Collins.
What is he going to talk
outside
shit
of
about
that,
now?
Like, he just took a couple of hit-ups, and I've seen him play better Origin games. Hudson Young was awful. Like...
Stefano was all right.
Stefano played quite good for a
bomb.
a flop. But in totality, like, as an entire team and lineup, it just wasn't where it was
But
in
it's
game 1. It wasn't
cancerous.
close.
This team is like they all get infected by the same
Yeah,
shit.
yes.
That's the problem,
That's the
right?
problem.
And the forwards should never lose the forwards to this Queensland team.
Yeah.
They selected wrong and lost the forwards. Listen to what I'm saying.
But that's through all the drop balls and the
but
the penalties,
they
right?
lost the forwards to a shit team, a shit version of Queensland.
Now, I actually want to give the Queensland forwards some credit.
They actually played
played good.
Yeah.
Tino was physical. I thought Capel was probably one of the flawless players of this game.
Yeah.
Defensively making an impact, popping up in the right places. He even, 5 minutes in, he picked Haas up and drove him back 5 meters. I was like, this is a fucking man-possessed.
Well, he plays for Warriors.
Shout out to my
Can't
G's
win
out
that.
there. Up the fucking
Up
wires,
the
baby.
wires.
Good to see some fucking Warriors players in the Origin arena. Shout out to Mitch Barnett. Hope you're recovering well. But
We needed you.
from that, like, Cotter was better
No.
without being great. Nanai didn't even play. Fodawaker was awful again. At this stage, he just might like...
Carrigan off the bench was pretty clutch.
He came on and played quite good. Harry Grant was 10 times better.
Harry
So
Grant
in the
was
middle of
really
the park,
annoying.
Queensland really stepped up. And even though they still probably have a lack of personnel, they were much better. Liero didn't do anything wrong, and that's the best compliment I can give him.
Oh,
And-
we forgot one New South Wales player. Did Robson even play?
Did Robson play as well? Yeah. He had the one gun run, but outside of that, like...
And Watson.
Leading 26-6, like, there's a lot you can fuck up and still win the game, from my perspective. And Queensland actually fucked every single thing up and should have probably lost.
Yeah.
And that's the concerning thing for me, where sneak peek preview to game 3, I truly think they're going to go and get hammered.
I'm not putting anything past New South Wales. I think we're going to be on opposites on that.
That's how much you don't have faith in them.
If they can pull this shithousery, what happens when Queensland play good? They've played shit 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
If they were that good, that first half, New South Wales would be down 40-6.
They were off, yeah. New South Wales was just really
They were
bad.
awful. And with 9 penalty calls, if this was like Queensland 2 years ago, they literally would be down 40-6. And everyone would be like, oh my God, how bad's New South Wales? Queensland are not a good team, but they're, like you said, 80 minutes away from stealing a shield that I actually think this is worse than the other team. Truly.
How they've played.
They've played is 10 times worse than the worst Queensland team.
No, I agree with you. So, unless there's anything else you want to say about the game, is there any moments you want to comment on? Any things that happened?
Cleary, that's it.
Do you want to go just have your 5-minute moment?
Nah,
with Cleary?
look, my moment with Cleary is simple. If Cleary was that injured, right, and to the point that Latrell was kicking in the first half, he doesn't kick for South anymore, right? Like, where was there any conversation of bringing Burton in? At least put him on the bench. What? Like, think of it.
What was the plan if Cleary's quad pulled up?
We had no
in the
plan.
5th minute?
Look. The thing is, they had no plan. That's the genius of this cunt, right? Of Laurie Daly. I'll call him out. I don't care. If he was injured to the point he can't even kick from his own end, that Latrell was doing and Luai was doing in the first half, then why is Burton not 14th man? At least.
So are you doubting the legitimacy of his injury?
Not the legitimacy of his injury. Is that
Or are you saying we're just
we're
incompetent?
just that incompetent that we don't think of things? Okay, Cleary's... Nah, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right. What if he fucked that up in the first half? What if it got worse? What are we going to do? Put Latrell at halfback? We had no
Watson,
plan.
I guess.
I mean, obviously we were down 26-6 anyway, right? But imagine Cleary went off in 5 minutes. We would have never won. Yeah. We didn't win anyway, but we would have never won in any capacity. What with Cleary and fucking Watson. Oh, no, Luai and Watson. We wouldn't win.
Yeah.
So there's no plan, right? And Watson, it's simple. Look, I know it's hard to make that decision. And this is where, like, Laurie Daly needs to take it by the balls and just be serious with fucking Watson. Be like, I'm dropping you to 18th man. simply because Cleary's injured. Otherwise, you are my 14th man. But I need Burton in this game because if he goes down, I'm fucked. What is Watson going to say? Nah, I have to play. I'll play a halfback for you. No, you're not a halfback. Look, it's not. I don't care he was injured. And look, his 8-8 record. If he played 100%, would they have won anyway? Probably not because of the calls. And he wouldn't have kicked goals anyway, so it didn't really change anything. And we saw how he kicked goals in game 1. So it wouldn't have changed the result. But just simple decision making of he's injured. I need a halfback on the bench. If he gets fucked, just wasn't made. It's just Laurie Daly. I think he's literally just picking what the public wants to pick him.
Yeah.
Even an injured player doesn't make him change his team. And we know if Luai, Cleary, Edwards go down in a game, we're kind of like, oh, we have to make this reshuffle and do this and do that. And he knew that pre-game and still didn't change anything. I can't imagine Laurie Daly. Let's imagine Dearden had that quad strain. He wouldn't bring Ezra into the team.
He probably would.
Be silly not to. It makes sense. What if Dearden goes down? You need a halfback. You put Kurt Mann there. Come on. It doesn't make sense. He's 18. He's already with the team. He's literally in the sheds on game day, ready to go.
It's a sensitive topic, right? Because I'm never going to be one that questions how legitimate an injury of a player is, because this is a tough fucking sport, right?
No, I'm not saying he's not injured.
And if he is injured and he went out there and he had a fucking go, then I respect him for it. And he is brave. But that, to me, I want to play more into the narrative that I don't want to sit and think we're that incompetent that we knew his injury is really bad and we just ran out Watson. So I'm more in the camp of, okay, he had a slight tweak in his quad, and they just erred on the side of caution. So they said, hey, look, don't do that much kicking in the regular game, and give the kicking to Lomax.
But he seemed to kick in the second half.
Well, he was capable of it, right? So I don't think the injury was that bad.
So there's two things
because
there.
because of that, I'm then not going to give him a pass of his performance and say that he was injured.
So there's two things there. You can either say, and the comments can decide. The first half, he didn't kick at all, so you can say the legitimacy of an injury. In the second half, he kicked everything in the field of play. He wasn't kicking goals anyway, so it doesn't matter. So where's the injury lie? If he wasn't injured, and you're saying we can't rely on the incompetency of Daly to not put Burton into the bench, then we're going to judge him the way he was.
Yeah.
We'll get to his rating. You thought 6 was bad. Just wait for this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But look, from my perspective, my overarching thoughts on the game was
Queensland are awful.
Queensland are just, even in a win, it gave me more evidence that New South Wales are much better than this team.
Oh, yeah.
And this really gives me even more confidence that New South Wales will hammer them in game 3. And the only thing saving grace for Queensland was the fact that their forwards played much better. Dropping DCE seemed to be the right decision because Dearden and Munster worked wonders together. Also, dropping DCE allowed them to captain Munster, and he seemed to thrive under the captaincy badge. Shout out to Munster, who was the player of the match in this game and probably one of the best on the field. So the forwards played better, the halves looked better, and you guys are 1-1. That's as far as my compliments go to you cunts, because everything else was
awful.
The fact that you were a minute away from losing that game up 26-6 with 150 calls consecutively. It wasn't 9-1 or 9-2, it was 9-0 for the penalty count. Alarms me as to what might be coming for you motherfuckers in game 3. On the New South Wales side of things, you're probably the dumbest team in the world that you would come out and score in 5 minutes, and the sequence of events that led to you motherfuckers going 26-6 is truly only New South Wales could pull that off.
Too many Roosters.
Only New South Wales could pull that off. Didn't play the conditions well. Didn't play to your strengths well at all. And the fact that you got to 5 tries in your favour to 4 for Queensland, in my opinion, just shows how bad Queensland are. So that's what I would lean into. It's fascinating.
How many Penrith players do we have out there today?
5?
Do you think they would? No.
They'll never drop it at Penrith.
No,
kick it out on the floor.
No, current Penrith you're talking about. I'm talking current and ex-Penrith. Like 10?
To'o, Edwards, Cleary, Luai, Yo, Martin. That's 6. Leniu, that's 7. I think that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
We're not missing anyone? You sure?
Hudson.
7? No, I couldn't see that happening at Penrith.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. It's fascinating. But
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's kind of my overarching thoughts. What would you say?
Just a lot of pressure on New South Wales in Game 3.
Now you have
created the pressure.
You have put all the pressure on yourselves, and you're lucky that you go and... I don't know if you are lucky to go play back in New South Wales, because I have seen you guys mess it up there many times in a decider format, but you are intrinsically much better than Queensland, and that should be enough for you.
Honestly, if they fuck it up this time, like, they'll need riot squad. Someone might get killed.
They might shut down the street after the pod that we do, mate. It's going to be something new for those. Like,
we might take Queensland again.
Well, that's the beauty of the next Origin preview, that we're not sure.
Let's see what Billy does.
Let's see what Billy does. Let's see what Laurie does, I guess.
Oh, Laurie. Yeah.
How about we go to the player review section of this podcast, Chrissy, where I'll name a player, we give our ratings out of 10. We'll start with the winning team, Kalen Ponga. Chrissy, you were particularly complimentary of him in game 1. Do you feel the same in game 2?
He was the worst. 3, because they won.
3? What is he getting 3 for?
He was there. He created the try for K-Paul, like he made a good run. That's it. He didn't
Fuck off.
All right, 2.
That's more like it. 2 out of 10. 3 dropped bombs. 8 runs.
No defense.
8 runs in 80 minutes, and
you let Cleary score. You're lucky it was obstructed.
For 2 of the New South Wales tries, you were not even in the frame. The first try and the Angus Crichton try. Awful positional play as a fullback. And when you actually were in the frame, you were just... The tackle attempts were flimsy as anything. So I'm going 2 out of 10. Probably Queensland's worst player.
100%.
Xavier Coates?
I think he did his job. I'd say 5. He didn't do anything great. Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, 5. He's in the middle.
4 out of 10. At least take a couple extra hit-ups. Or, like, say, hey, boys, kick to me.
He can't. He has Lomax there.
Sure. I'm giving him... What did I say?
Well, he shut down Lomax.
4 out of 10. No, he didn't shut down anything.
Robert Toya.
No,
Val. He put shots on a few times. He did cause the Angus Stephen Crichton try, which was atrocious.
Look,
I'll give him 5 as well.
I wanted to give him 6.5, 7, but after the Crichton try, I'll give him 5.5.
5.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. Did some good things, did an awful thing. He comes out to about a net even in the end.
It wasn't anything great.
Robert Toya.
I don't think he did anything wrong. You can't defend Latrell. I'm going to give him... You know what? He's had 2 good games. I'm going to give him 6.
I'm going to give him 5 out of 10.
He did have a few errors. 5.
I would like a few more hit-ups from him. And
no errors.
yeah, I'll give him 5 out of 10. I think that's justified. Didn't do anything great. Didn't do anything too wrong, which was probably a similar story from game 1. Hammer time?
7. You can't do much one-on-one with Toto. Like, I don't care who was there. But his second try in particular... That's just brilliant. That's just skill from Hammer. So I'll give him 7. He was the best in the back line.
I'll go 7 as well. Again, lacked the consistency of taking a lot of hit-ups, but I guess that's not his game. He scored 2 tries, one which was more individual brilliance than anything, but his edge also did leak 3 tries, so I can't give him anything more than a 7. But I can give more than a 7 to Cameron Munster, who I would give a 9 out of 10 for. Only real mistakes was the 70 tackle set that he gave.
I'm surprised. I know you're going to give him 9 because I know you're going to give another player 10. So I'm going to give Munster 10.
Okay.
Led from the front. I know who you're going to give 10. So I can't give my 10 there. Munster, look, took the captain badge. You know, lost his... Someone halfback that literally played with him for so long. He would die for literally, and he didn't look like it. He looked much better in this game, and he may have not had his classic Origin big highlight moments, but he got the team G'd up, and they played great today, and he scored. So 10 out of 10 from Munster. What a performance!
Munster, he looked dangerous most times. He had the ball, got a few offloads away, scored a try.
His money.
He gave 2 70 tackle sets away actually, which was bad from him. It's particularly the banana kick attempt was really fucking funny.
Yeah, but
other than that, regulation kicks were good besides those 2. And
I'll still give him 10. I like him.
He stepped up with the captaincy armband on him. I'll give him a 9 out of 10.
I reckon I'll give captaincy one other player anyway.
Tomas Dearden, the cowboy at heart. How did he go at the halfback position?
8. He did his job. He directly ran at the line. I like how he was running the ball. He does that for Cowboys as well. Defensively was question. He was on that edge that was getting cooked. But, those decisions come down to him and he's outside, which there's too many Cowboys there, which Billy needs to really fix that up. One of the worst defenses, and you have them all on one edge. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But 8, I think with the ball, he was great.
With the ball, I think he was very good. I'll go 8 as well. Looked threatening every time he was taking the line on. Was carrying New South Wales players for like a lot of meters every time he was taking hit-ups. Put the kick in on a 50-cent coin for Hammer's second try and didn't really do much wrong in my opinion. So I thought Dearden was quite good. Fodawaker.
Oh, God. 3?
Yeah.
He was literally getting folded.
He might be the worst player of the series so far.
I think he'll drop him. Like, they won, but drop him. He was shit. How is he even close to Wars, bro? He was so bad again. Like, on a winning team. It was incredible how bad he was. 3 or 4?
3. He was bad, bro.
He was bad, bro.
When they scored and he took it up off the kick-off and dropped it, I was like, fuck me, you just can't
even
take
on the
touch.
10, he doesn't even give punch. When they were 10 meters out, he falls like this.
The one hit up where he just fell into a black hole, I was like, wow, this is bad. 3 out of 10. He was, after Kalen, he was their worst player.
Yeah.
He was their worst forward. By Harry Grant?
7. He did have some,
You know what?
It's Harry's moments.
I'm going to give him extra because he didn't get in the way.
He didn't.
I'm going to give him 8. He was good.
Nah.
Defensively, he was good. He set up Munster's
outplayed Robson.
He set up Munster's try. He went short side when Capewell scored.
All right, you're right. 8.
I'll go 8.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't kick out on the full. He didn't drop it from fucking dummy half.
He did do that stupid kick in the first half. He just kicked it out. I was like,
but then he got it out of his system and then he was all right. Yeah. Fasumala Owie.
He was one of their better forwards. I'd say 7.
As in 7 knock-ons?
That was the only reason I even give him more. But everything you want from an Origin player, he was great outside of the errors. And, he copped him on a chin and he kept going. And from those 2 errors, I don't think he made a mistake from there. He was fantastic.
I'll go 6 out of 10. I thought he was actually better in game 1. He gave some dog wank errors away. And he kept rushing in like he's going to...
You just want to give Capewell 10. I know.
He kept rushing in as if he's going to fight the entire state of New South Wales, and he just never did anything. Yeah. I'll give him 6 because he was above average, but I expect higher from the captain of Gold Coast, personally.
All right.
Ruben Cotter.
Oh, you're delaying it one more. Ruben Cotter. Oh, I'm going to give him a 6, but he was more awful than that. Only because, again, Billy's playing him out of position. You're not a second rower. Just get out. All right, Nanai, not that he's any better defensively, but Cotter just doesn't have the size. And when you have to defend someone like Latrell, you need size, regardless of how shit Nanai is. So, Cotter, you should be just playing through the middle. I don't know why people like mobile forwards through the middle, and he's great, and he can cut players down, tackling. He's a middle forward. I don't know why he doesn't play there.
Cotter was decent, better than game 1 for sure. I thought his contact defensively was much better than game 1. That he was driving players back. As far as structurally on the right edge, he was part of the 4 idiots that just concede at will. So I got to give him a 6, and I can't give him any more. But he was pretty good. He almost scored that try that. For no reason, Tino knocked it backwards, and the New South Wales players all fell asleep. But Hudson was there, so all good. I'll give him a 6 out of 10 as well. I think that's reasonable.
Capewell.
Mr. Capewell, what is your rating for Capewell?
9. Didn't do anything wrong. Doesn't get the praises because he's a New Zealander. Sorry, he was, but wow, he was great. Did his job, and this is why he came in last year. I think for David Fafita, plays 80, does his job, doesn't do anything wrong. Went on the wing for a second, which was pretty funny. He was great. I love. He had a great performance. I don't love him. Look, you love him.
Capewell, in my opinion, gets a 9 out of 10.
Everyone wanted to see it.
Didn't do anything wrong. Was a forced change from game 1.
He scored.
He was a forced change from game 1 that we said he should have been in the lineup immediately from game 1, and we said Billy fucked up. And he was a very noticeable change. Every time he got the ball or was around the ball, I noticed that he really has impacting the game in a lot of ways. He scored the try. He put multiple shots on. He drove Haas back 10 meters for no reason.
And defensively they made that edge no way.
That edge, outside of Val just conceding the critter for no reason, anything that went down Capewell's side, he was shutting that shit down. just like a Wah and just like a G. So shout out to Capewell. He was probably, I think, Queensland's best forward on the night. And now we go to the lock position, which was
Liero.
He
didn't do anything wrong. 6.
6 out of 10. He did nothing wrong, and he
Did nothing wrong.
conceded a HIA for 2 free points, which ended up being the difference in the game. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't really much to say about Liero.
Cutman,
He was good off the bench. He brought some life. I'll give him 6 as well.
I'll give him a 6 as well. His try assist was a great offload, and
True
he
bulldog.
looked like a live wire in the middle, and that's the sort of fleet footwork that they need in a game that
It's what
plays
Cotter
out the
is.
way that he did.
That's
so
literally what Cotter is.
I do like the addition of Man, and I think he should be there in
I
game
like
3 as
Mam
well.
instead.
Man would also be nice somewhere in the 17, but some would say that's unethical. Moving forward,
Let him run his spits.
Jeremiah Nano.
4. Did he play?
I'm gonna put a question mark.
you know
Did he play?
You know what's incredible? We came on, I'm pretty sure, for Connor, and he made that edge even worse. So me saying
Cowboy for
Connor
Cowboy, it's a lie.
Connor shouldn't be there. Anyway, 4.
I'm going question mark.
Because he didn't play.
I didn't even see him play.
Who was next? Right, Lindsay Collins.
Lindsay Collins.
He was all right. I'd give
Was
him a
he?
6.
He was fine,
He
yeah.
kept them together.
What was he, the glue of Queensland?
Nah, the glue was
look, he came on and he took a couple of hit ups and he got smashed by Leniu.
he smashed Lenny once as well. So.
No, he was fine. 6 out of 10. Much better than game 1. And to round it out, who was the last?
Carrigan, 7.5.
7.5.
He was probably the best bench forward.
Good.
Came on and I'm pretty sure played rest of the game.
Yeah.
But that's what Billy wants to do, and it's a good plan.
Do you like
Worked well.
that? I do like that going forward for Billy to not start him and tire him out when the body blows are being thrown around in the first 20. And once he came on, again, made an impact
When
in my eyes.
Stefano
and-
comes on.
Yeah, no, so I thought Carrigan played quite good. Now we switch over to
Now
the
the
blue
fun
side of
side.
things. So you were happy with Munster getting man of the match?
Yeah, I think it was.
I agree. I think
Okay.
once he scored, they may as well have given it to him. There.
Okay, Paul.
Okay, Paul. There. Well, shout out to my G's out there. New South Wales.
Here comes the fun stuff.
Dylan Edwards.
3.
Wow.
Did he play?
It wasn't your typical Dylan Edwards busy game, was it?
He wasn't there. I mean, supporting offense. Yeah, he does the one pass and Critter goes scores and he gets the tries. I think he had maybe just ticked over 100 meters. All right. Like, you average 200 meters. Like, okay. If you're not going to give me the 200 meters, there's not much else he gives offensively. Nothing. And defensively, yeah, he's there. He saved maybe a try or two, but all right. Like, on a plethora of fullbacks, right? You are the premier because you make all the meters. And when you don't make the meters, you can't expect me to come on and not criticize you. 3.
I'll give him a 5 out of 10. I don't think he was the reason in isolation that he didn't make meters. I think that was down to New South Wales' own stupidity of not getting into an end-to-end kind of game that they could dominate. And he made an error or two, but he also saved the try. And he set up Critter's try.
He did everything.
I'm not sure how much more Edwards could have done given how the game played out. I'll give him a 5 out of 10. Brian To'o.
Probably New South Wales best. I would say 7. Yeah, 7.
Ran for 200 metres, scored 3 tries. The minimum you can give him is 7. Conceded the hammer try, which that's just
That's
part of
fine,
him
yeah.
being on the wing, I guess. I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was probably also New South Wales' best in a side without much going for them. Latrell?
So, probably say 6. He only because he gave Robert Toya that play. Other than that, To'o needs to thank him for all the Origin tries because Latrell did his job. Yeah, we want to see him absolutely charge at Robert Toya and just see what he can do. But when you have To'o on the edge and 3 Queensland players can't even tackle him, then you just got to pass it. And that's exactly what happened. And I'll give him a 6.
I'll give him a 6 out of 10 between the couple of try assists that he had and the one-on-one steal that ended up getting to another try as well. But I am slightly disappointed with what I've seen out of Latrell because I'm not seeing him put his hand up to go and literally grab Robert Toya from the scruff of the neck and be like, I will destroy you every time I get the ball.
Fair
And
enough.
that's what I do expect out of Latrell in a Blues jersey, and I haven't seen it yet, so I can't go any higher than a 6. Stephen, a.k.a. Bitcoin Crichton.
Sorry, Matt. 4. I mean, that try, like you said, Ruben Garrick scored that try. Other than that, what did he do?
He was poor, I thought.
Like, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
No, did he even tit up the ball that much?
I actually think at a certain point in this game, he was on drugs.
Like, and then he threw that ball 500 meters backwards as well.
He dropped it a couple times in the first
Yeah.
half. He threw the 500-meter backwards pass to Edwards. Defensively, he did his job, I guess, because Val and Coates' side really was MIA the whole game.
Yeah, they didn't do much.
I got to give him a 5 out of 10 because he just really wasn't that involved. He scored, and they didn't score on his side, I guess, but as far as making meters, getting involved, being busy, the multitude of errors he made, I can't go higher than a 5. That was probably one of his least impressive Origin performances.
One of the least worst performances out all year.
Yeah, definitely. Which, yeah, just was what it was. Lomax?
5. Like, again, that edge just... Both edges, both the Queensland side and New South Wales side, on that side of the field, might as well not have been there. Like, it was just even... They couldn't do much. Lomax cut. Look, he caused the errors for Kalen, and that's probably the best thing he did. But other than that, didn't do much.
I kind of put him in the Edwards category of through New South Wales' own stupidity. It wasn't end to end, which didn't give Lomax a chance to insert himself in the game that much.
And he gave him the 2 points to fucking win the game.
Missed a couple.
He missed the goals, so yeah.
But forced a couple errors through his sheer persistence of chasing the kicks. I got to go 5 out of 10 as well. Luai?
6. Yeah, he kicked the ball out on the full. Not the premier kicker, which we'll get to. AKA Tiger. But I thought it took for such a quick turnaround, less than a week, to come back into the team and really look like nothing has really left him in New South Wales. He played pretty well, and he did his job at left on that 6 role, get the ball out wide. And that's all he needed to do, because even with numbers or without, Latrell's there, he takes 5 players and you pass the tie and you score. Simple.
7 out of 10.
Wow, you made it as smart as bizarre.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I thought Luai was...
Then the next rating's not going to be good, is it?
For what he is, I thought, outside of a few silly mistakes throughout the game, he generally was a big part of why we ended up with 24 points. Like, I got to show to us some love. Shout out to all my Tigers fans out there. I wish you had that many try assists in a week for Tigers, Luai. That would be nice.
Fair enough.
The Iceman, Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, so this has to be bad on your part too, but 2. Like, if we're judging him without being injured, which in the second half he wasn't because he kept kicking, he was awful in that first half then. Simple. You can't say he was injured in the first and then all of a sudden he was all right in the second. So anyone that says in the comment, but in the first he was, then what the fuck? Then that's just incompetency across the whole New South Wales.
What you're kind of saying, Chris, is you actually could have more of a case for defending him if he just didn't kick the whole game.
Yeah. Then I would be like, all right, he's injured.
He can't kick.
Yeah, he can't kick. And then I would be like, okay, then he's just going to run the ball. He's just going to be there as a placeholder. And then I probably would have given him a 4 because at least he went out there, he was brave. But in the second half, he starts kicking. So what the fuck was wrong with this cunt?
Yeah.
And that's just poor. Like, I got to show it the way it is. And if he was that injured in that first half, like I said, why is Burton not 14? It makes no sense to me. So, look, 2. He was our worst, for sure.
I'm going to go 3. He was really bad. And the non-kicking versus kicking shit, that wasn't good.
No.
But to me, it was, okay, you might not have your body, but you still have your brain. And for him to just peg the ball at Haas in the first half in the second row position with 10 Queensland players there, awful decision, killed momentum. And at the end of the game, doing the same shit where you've seen both teams drop the ball 50 times, and what did you pegged the ball at Haas again with the game on the line.
Yeah.
Knowing that To'o literally has 3 tries from these cunts just running shape left. And maybe your quad's injured and you can't get your kicking distance long.
He was kicking it perfectly fine.
But has this motherfucker forced 1 dropout in this whole series?
No.
I don't see it.
Oh, he did. Remember his little chip kick? With 2 seconds.
Nah.
Do you remember when he was like, in the second half, he started chip kicking and shit as well? It was incredible. He didn't kick 1 ball in the first half.
I think it's timing of... I didn't see him give Martin or Crichton any real quality ball so they'd have an opportunity for one-on-one. If anything, when Crichton scored, it was Edwards giving him the pass. And like we said, most of New South Wales' damage was done on the left-hand side. And Cleary, apparently he was healthy enough to take the line on multiple times, and he kept running as if he's a ball runner, but overall probably one of his worst Origin performances.
I
would
don't
say.
mind if he ran the whole game. I would be like, all right, his quad's fucked. He can run. He can't extend his kick. But this motherfucker starts kicking. Like,
Yeah.
there needs to be a fucking investigation. Truly.
Look, I'm not saying he.
I want an explanation as to
didn't,
why.
he didn't tweak his quad, but the fact that they very intentionally came out with him not kicking for the whole first half, and then miraculously he's kicking the whole second half, does come across as a bit strange.
It was immediate. It was about to go kick goals.
He healed. Yeah, I know, he healed. It
was
insane.
incredible.
So, I'm sorry, Nathos, but that was pretty bad, and I got to give a 3 out of 10.
Probably 2 awful games from him.
Yeah.
Even game 1, like...
A 6 out of 10 and a 3 out of 10, I think, is what we've given him.
Me, yeah.
And for those that push back on game 1 saying that
I'd love
we
to see what
didn't
they
give
say
him a good
too.
enough rating, are we being too harsh again? You let me know. Does he deserve a 5 out of 10 for doing what? You guys...
Bravery.
You guys can... He was brave. I'll give him he was brave.
No, I don't.
His production was not where it needed to be.
If he was brave, he wouldn't have kicked.
Anyway.
Haas. The forwards are going to be pretty bad. Like I had to give Cleary lower because I know the forwards are bad. 4.
3?
4. Like...
No offloads. No ascendancy.
Punch.
Quick play the balls.
Nothing.
Multiple errors. For what is considered the best front rower in the game, probably his worst Origin performance.
100%.
He was awful.
I agree.
Rhys Robson?
Ugh. It's not his fault though. It's just this is his player. That's what I'm going to take out. It's not his fault. Shouldn't be there.
I'll say 5.
4.
Defensively, he was okay.
He got raped by Harry Grant.
He took one gun run, and his service was on time until Watson came on and became Harry Grant for Melbourne himself.
But he got raped by that Hudson.
I put Robson in the Edwards and Lomax category of like, this wasn't even an end-to-end game where he could have done anything.
Yeah, but defensively, like...
Well, it wasn't his fault.
He got raped by Harry.
Yeah. Well, they lost the middle of the park right through 100 errors, so I'll give him a 5 out of 10. I think that's fair.
Max King.
It
should never start again.
Did he play?
Should never start.
Did he play?
3.
Seriously?
Should never start.
Was he out there?
I don't know.
What did he do?
Nothing.
That just proves that there's certain motherfuckers that should never start in Origin, ever.
Never.
Ever.
Yeah.
He's one of them. Angus Crichton?
At least he scored 5. No, 4. He was shit as well.
He's, in my eyes, on the verge of losing his Wally Lewis medal for how fucking mediocre he's been this whole series.
Highway robbery.
Last year, he was absolutely possessed, but this year...
They don't even offload? Why didn't they offload
He doesn't even get the ball.
Yeah, I know.
Truly. Like, I know this isn't what happened, but I feel like in the 10th minute, Laurie was like, all right, fuck off, we'll get Hudson on. And I just didn't see him again until he scored. I was like, oh, wait, they subbed him back on.
You actually thought it was Hudson?
Yeah, I thought it was Hudson because maybe it was the fourth
I
quarter.
wonder who to blame there. Why did the second rows not get the ball?
Yeah, I didn't see that much out of Angus Crichton, and
Actually, I saw
better
less
of
from the other edge.
which we're getting to. Liam Martin,
Other than his error, which was funny.
he was just running around laughing the whole game, like it was all one big joke to him.
Exactly.
He goes shots on and forces error. He's laughing. He drops it. He's still laughing. So
No. But after he laughed, did he play the rest of the game? Like, question mark.
he was a 4?
3.
Well, Angus
Him and
Crichton,
Angus-
I got to
Angus
give him
Crichton
a
scored.
5 because he scored.
This guy's 3.
I got to give this guy a 4 out of 10 because he did really nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Like, I can't even say he particularly did his gun kick chases like he normally does.
Yeah.
Let's say he pumped Tino and then got pumped by Tino,
And then he
and that was a
backed down.
wash, and that was it. So 4 out of 10. Isaiah Yeo, the captain.
Another player that didn't play. 4.
Last game, I believe I gave him a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I have to give him half of that, maybe 4.5. Did he play?
That's what I'm saying. God,
Was he
his
there?
forwards didn't play, bro.
Sure. Like he did nothing really.
He did nothing. Oh, Watson.
Oh God. Watson.
Was he worse than Cleary? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 1 out of 10.
1. He's truly on the verge of getting...
To get below a 2 or a 3, you have to have, in my opinion, negatively impacted your team.
And he did.
And I think he actually hurt the Blues the most.
By making
Would they have been better off playing Robson 80 instead of bringing this cunt on? Yeah.
It's simple decision.
Stop going short.
This
is not Roosters. That you just like, oh, okay.
Sam Walker's there.
Yeah, James, I'll give it to Tedesco. I'll give it to fucking I'll give it to Dom Young. No, dickhead. Toho scored 3 tries. There's 5 minutes left in this game. We need 1 try to win the fucking series.
You're pegging the ball at Edwards.
Go left. This was the line. Cleary, Luai, Angus Crichton, Latrell, Toho. Oh,
Edwards.
Lomax is there by himself here. That was the decision making at the crucial pivotal time where the game was on the line. I have to give him a 1.
Would you consider dropping him?
No,
Okay. Right.
because I thought he played really good in game 1 and he was really good last year. I'm only talking about isolation in this game. He
He played
horrible.
like a rooster.
He played like a true rooster.
Yeah.
Stefano.
He was the best forward, so I have to give him 6. At least he came on and tried.
For what was actually happening in the game and what he came on and did, I'll give Stefano a 7. I thought he was probably the most damaging with his runs.
Yeah.
In a team that was not very damaging for most of the game. I thought Stefano was quite good.
Yeah.
Which exceeded my expectation, actually. But apparently Kalamatangi is healed, so maybe they can pick him for game 3. Outside of those two, Spencer.
Sorry, Grub. 4. Did he play? Yeah, he put shots on. That's it.
It wasn't really a Spencer Leniu type of game. I'll give him a 5 because he still made some meters when he took hit-ups, but
He took a lot of shit this week.
For how much shit he took and how much has been like put on his shoulders of this grub, I got to give him a 5. I can't give him any more. And the last player was Hudson.
Yeah, he was
Hudson
shit.
was really bad. 3 out of 10. 2 out of 10.
He always gave
Yeah.
Ruben his try. Remember when he
Yeah,
dropped
yeah.
it?
Just completely asleep at the wheel. Typical, like,
Right
this
up.
This was Hudson of old, where he just comes on and just thinks
I
that.
hope he doesn't get dropped for this. He wasn't.
I agree.
But
Because
something he would.
He has been the Raiders' best player for the whole year, and he was good in game 1, but this was a typical no Hudson, no kind of game,
Yeah.
as opposed to a go Hudson.
Go, Hudson.
So, across, like, judging from the fucking scores and ratings we've given, you would have thought Queensland won like 36-10.
Yeah, well, that's just how disappointing New South Wales was. Well, we
Yeah,
just said
truly.
Queensland are awful. They shouldn't have won in the first place.
No, I agree with you. So, now that the dust has settled, Chris, we've got a 1-1 series and we've got a decider in game 3. How do you feel?
Good. Slightly scared for New South Wales.
Slightly scared for
Because
our Blues.
80 minutes separates like
I would
one
say
of the biggest like losses ever.
Without doing the whole preview now, I would expect New South Wales to bounce back and win. I truly hope Ashley Klein doesn't fucking go and give 106 again
Just
to
leave
either
the whistle
side.
away. Yeah.
Whatever he needs to go and watch the footage of Game 3 of last year and just ref it the same way.
Correct.
No one wants to go and see a 10-0 penalty count. Can't
Correct.
wake up. And as far as the spectacle goes, I do appreciate that it's not a Deb Rara and Queensland actually somehow won.
There's a lot of pressure on New South Wales.
And
though.
New South Wales, we'll see how they respond to the pressure.
They have a lot
And
of pressure.
I'm excited to see that.
It's true.
Will there be an axe swung by either state? Will injuries play a role like they did in this game? We will have to wait and see over the next 2 weeks, but we do have a round of footy now to preview, so we're going to cut the camera off and start talking about Knights in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace out, guys. Enjoy.